Welcome to CNY News.
Hi, this is CNY News. I am Javier Quiros.
And I am Bernardo Kopper. And today we're going to explain the 5 factors that affect climate in different cities. Now we're going to have a small introduction and explanation of what is precipitation and how it affects different cities over the world with my friend Javier Quiros.
Thank you, Bernardo. Precipitation affects climate in several ways. It helps regulate air and land temperature. It determines plant life in the area that contributes to the climate, and it contributes to the formation of wind. In average, April is the wettest month, and on average, October is the driest month. This means that in October is the month that it less precipitates, and in April is the one that most precipitates.
Thank you, Javier, for that explanation of precipitation, of New York, and everything else. Now we're going with Javier again for him to explain a little bit of inland positions and landforms of New York.
Thank you, Bernardo. Landforms affect climate by altering the wind and rate evaporation, which can cause changes in temperature, humidity, and precipitation of a region. When storm fronts run into landforms, such as mountains and high plateaus, rain clouds are sometimes blocked. This causes the upwind side of the landform to receive a plentiful rainfall, while the downwind side of the structure remains dry. As you can see, in New York City, the Central Park has glacial landforms. This has a sign of the weather making it have snow or heavy rainfalls.
Thank you, Javier, for giving that explanation. Now I'm going to talk about climate changes with latitude. Places located at high latitudes, far from the equator, receive less sunlight than places at low latitudes close to the equator. The amount of sunlight and the amount of precipitation affects the types of plants and the animals that can live in a place. It all has to do with the shape of the earth. Because the earth is round, only the front part receives more sunlight than other parts. For example, in the North Pole, the night lasts not longer because the sun doesn't go there as long as in Costa Rica, the sun goes more direct because it is in the center.
Thank you, Bernardo, for that amazing explanation. Now, Bernardo is going to explain how does altitude and climate affect the vegetation.
Thank you, Javier. Well, the effects of altitude on climate and vegetation. For each 1,000 foot rise in altitude, there is a 4-degree Fahrenheit drop in temperature. For example, if at sea level the average temperature would be 35 degrees Celsius, the higher place is the colder it will be. Like in the Everest, it's very cold because it is very high. Also, like in Costa Rica, it is normal temperature and it is not that high of a temperature. It's an average temperature because of the average height it is.
Thank you, Bernardo, for the explanation. Now, I have a question for you. What role does the ocean take in climate change?
Thank you, Javier. Well, the ocean plays a fundamental role in shaping the climate zones we see on land. Even areas hundreds of miles away from any coastlines are still largely influenced by the global ocean systems. Like in Costa Rica, the ocean is very close as to the cities and every place in Costa Rica, so the climate and the ocean currents give a different type of climate and a change of climate throughout the cities in Costa Rica.
Thank you. Now I just got a cell phone call from Bernardo Kopper, who is going to explain us all the way from the CNY headquarters his graph of latitude and temperature affecting climate.
In this chart, you can observe that the temperature to latitude can differ in very different places. Like in Bogota, you can see the temperature can be 15 degrees Celsius, and the latitude could be about 5.00. And it can be like that because it is closer. It is much closer to the equator, so that is why it is much hotter and it has a very much tropical climate than other places. As London, it has a lower temperature because it is much longer out of the equator than it is like Bogota next to the equator. Munich is very far off the equator. It is about 45,000 miles away from the equator, and it has a very low temperature because it is to the sides of the, it is to the north or to the south. It's not very near to the equator, so that is why latitude is very important to when it comes to temperature and climates of places.
New York City's average temperature is 13 degrees Celsius and its altitude is 4 meters. It is very close to the sea level, but New York City is on the northern part of the continent, so it has a lot of cold winds coming from the north. However, Miami is also very close to the sea level, but has an average temperature of 22 degrees Celsius. This is because it is lower from the north, but also it is closer to the equator. Another example is Buenos Aires, that has a fair temperature of 19 degrees Celsius and it is very close to the equator. But that does not beat the hottest city of my chart, that is Sao Paulo, with 23 degrees Celsius. The coldest city is Munich, with 6 degrees Celsius, and the tallest city is Bogota, standing over 2,500 meters over sea level.